Well, hi everybody. My name is Daniel Tuutau. I'm the chair of the Poplar Grove Community Council. It's great to see a nice full house here. If you didn't get the earlier message, we brought in some treats. We always like to have a little something to snack on as we go along. We'd like to acknowledge, first of all, the other community council board members that we have present here. Some of us were good enough to wear our pink shirts. I wore mine yesterday to the State of the City address, so it didn't smell well. So I'm just wearing a regular shirt. But we have Karen, Jason, Ricky. Let's see who else got. Dan, Jordan, and Bethany, Diego, Peter. There's just so many more people than usual. Usually it's like half the board. So we're glad to be here with you today. We're gonna just work our way through some of the usual suspects and see who's here. Let's see if this is even working. Turn it on. I assume no fire currently. Okay. Let's see, police report. Do we have?
He's online.
Is he online?
Yeah.
I'm online.
Sorry, I unmute the computer.
Oh, sorry.
I muted that because I thought you were going to join here and I didn't want it to.
Try again. Detective Oliver.
I am here. I'm the unusual suspect this time.
One more time, Detective Oliver, if you want to just kind of talk for a little bit, see if we can get
Sure, I'm testing. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, fine. And we'll make him go through the owl.
Can you hear me? Testing.
You're a little bit soft for us in the room, so everyone will just have to be a little quiet. I think we're not getting it going through the TV, but we're getting it coming through the owl.
All right, so I apologize I wasn't able to make it down tonight. I got back in town late last night and misplaced my patrol car keys. So I finally found them, but it was just too late to make it down there. So I apologize. Any questions or concerns that you're seeing since last time we met?
I have one. Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, we're still having issues with the police speeding down 9th.
I second that.
Yeah. Sorry, on 5th, not 9th, on 5th. And not stopping at the stop sign even when someone's trying to cross the street.
Not stopping for the people in the yellow for the going across the river either.
Yeah.
Trouble.
They're not stopping. It's an issue.
I will pass that along and get that put out to Pioneer.
Okay.
Is that the stop sign just past the church on the other side of the river?
Yeah. I feel like it's all along the way. It's also over here on 5th and 9th. From 9th all the way to the river. Is
When they come around the corner, paralleling the river from where the main office is down there, they don't even. They just turn north on that, and they speed right away over the bridge, whether anybody is coming across the bridge or not. And I was there, and I stopped for a bridge light with people coming over, and they had to stop because the cops did not.
Yeah.
Move.
And
they didn't stop sign, and they weren't going nowhere except for.
They don't have their lights on when this is happening.
No, they don't.
This happened to us too while we were walking the dogs. We had to stop because a police officer didn't stop at the light.
That's something I'll definitely push up because that's a concern. We should be knocking that out real quick.
Yeah.
Hey, and Officer Oliver, this is Potts. And I almost got hit again. And I know it's not necessarily your issue, but I almost got hit again on the Parkway today with a motorized bike passing me on the right. Didn't hear him coming or anything. No notification, no nothing. Oh my
Wait,
God!
was that one of our officers?
No.
Okay.
Not this time. but
Not this time. Okay.
But I second and third and fourth all the other comments because, you know, as I said earlier, before Officer Red came on board, you know, I said to everybody in the community that I just wanted to survive. And so actually, if the police department, the detectives could just operate as per, you know, example, then we'd all be a lot better off. Anyway.
Agreed 100%. And I'm sending a text to Commander Clough right now, so he can put that out to all of Pioneer.
Thank you.
I got one that's close to that, but a different vehicle. It's the unauthorized, unlicensed little tote goats, little motorbikes. They do not have headlights. They do not have brake lights. And they're actually on the street coming into the left-hand turn and turning and using the regular streets and being on everywhere around. And they're going fast and making noise, and they don't care about pedestrians or anything else.
Yeah, really
Their
kids.
kids.
Yeah.
So the little electric bikes and gas-powered bikes.
These are little mini motorcycles.
Yeah.
They're
Kids riding them.
Kids on the street.
Kids, not adults.
And then no helmet, they're bundled up on it, and they're just going down the way, and there's no law that they haven't broken.
Yeah. Okay. I'll put that out as well. I know Rose Park's having some issues with that as well. Are you seeing them on the trail, the Parkway, or mainly on city streets?
On all of them.
streets.
On all the streets. Okay.
I've seen them a lot on 400 South, like on the viaduct,
Yeah.
and they'll like crisscross through traffic. Like,
Seriously, on the bridge that goes into town.
Yeah, everywhere. They
Okay.
don't care.
Detective Oliver, may I ask a question?
You sure can.
Okay. Hi, folks. My name is Alicia. I'm with the mayor's office. I'm your community council, community liaison to this district, District 2. So my question is very respectful. It's not facetious. It doesn't come from a place of condescension. Okay. So and this is for us to bring back feedback to the city, to the chief, to the commander in this area. So please keep that in mind. My question is respectful, not condescending, and it's not facetious. So when is it acceptable for the community that police cars or vehicles are speeding through the streets or do not stop at a stop sign? One at a time, or that's my question. If you want to give me feedback afterwards, because I know you have a lot of feedback. So
I think,
after the meeting, please let me know.
yeah. So just from our policy is not always lights and siren. If you haven't noticed, we don't do lights and sirens a lot in the city. But when lights and sirens are on, then yes, of course, that's a priority call. We do respond to a lot of priority calls, though, without lights and sirens. So you'll see some officers slow at stop signs and then take off, or just go right through the stop sign, which isn't very a good idea. I think that's one of the policies that we're going to have to try and work on and change. You might see more officers going with lights and sirens to priority calls than we've done in the past. But yes.
Lights.
Yeah,
Right? Or you'll see
yeah.
lights,
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
see sirens, you're just
Yeah,
lights.
right, but the issue is narrow streets, going way too fast on narrow streets with cars parked down both sides. There's no way that's right without lights.
Okay.
I just
No, those
feel
are
like
those.
that's a little policy that like if you're gonna speed, you're gonna run lights and you're gonna run stop signs and like crosswalks, you don't have lights. Because at least any pedestrian like could see them coming from a mile away. But like if you're trying to like get the jump in on the bad guys, like it's not gonna matter if you hit two kids trying to cross go to Chapman Library on 900 West, right? Like it would be helpful, at least for the community, that you leave lights on, even if there is no sirens. With the lights, at least we can see them coming.
You'll know they're on the job and they're not just going to the coffee shop.
That is great advice, and I'm actually still texting Commander Clough right now, and I will add that to the text. We'll see if we can change that policy, especially since Pioneer is surrounded by a community, so that's right where we're at. So I agree with you. I think we should be going lights, sirens if necessary on more calls, but that's just a policy that we've had in the past. I think Chief Red will probably look at that and change it, though.
Thank you, Detective Oliver.
Yeah. Hey, good news though. Good news is 5th South is going to be having some construction for 6 months. That's good news, right? Terrible. It's actually terrible news. So I apologize for that.
Would there be any reason that someone would be in a hurry to get to the precinct?
There should not. There should. Well, the only reason they should be hurrying to the precinct is if there is a call, priority call at the front desk.
They're not done.
Okay.
Yeah.
That happened this morning.
If they're late for lineup, then that's on them. They shouldn't be speeding.
Okay. So it sounds like they're speeding both directions. So are there any other concerns or questions for Detective Poplar before he goes over any stats or anything else that he wants to cover with us?
I just want to note that we continue to see a lot of overnight camping on the Jordan River Parkway and drug use and open flames and fire. I have a probably not emergency number, but that also doesn't always feel safe to do when you're out there by yourself.
Do you use the app?
No. If you're seeing any crimes, do not use the app. That needs to be a 799-3000 call or a 911 call. If it's an open flame, same. I know fire wants to extinguish any open flames, and they are not allowing flames at all. So those should not be put into the app at all, because we probably won't get anything that's put into the app for a couple of days, if not a week later.
Great response. What about encampments?
Encampments can be, if it's just an encampment and there's no drug use or any illegal activity as far as that's concerned, you could put that into the app for a cleanup. Now, if there's drug use at the encampment, please call 799-3000.
I had a problem where I called and had the fire department come out to put out a fire that the homeless had started. And I got a lot of flack from the fire department, and I had to file a case with the mayor's office about it because I didn't like the customer service or lack of that the supervisor was using with me about he says, I'm not going to come out and put out every homeless fire at Salt Lake City.
I'm pretty sure the fire department, if they were there, would say otherwise. They want to go out and put out those fires just because they don't want it to spread. But again, we do work for you, the community. So if you see something that we're doing that's not correct, or you want to figure out what's going on, please do whatever you need to do to try and get that fixed. So with that though, yeah, don't ever be deterred by the way dispatch or officers act when they're called, because unfortunately some people can just not be very professional. But if you do have that, I would like to hear about it. If you do see a speeder, every single one of our marked cars has a number on the back. Just write that number down. It's not the license plate, but it's a I think a 5-digit number. Yeah, it's a 5-digit number that's on the back, and that's assigned to a certain officer. So if you see those, please text them to me, send them to me, email them to me, call me, whatever you need to do, and we can try and stop that real quick.
So just a reminder for everybody here, the more you call into like the non-emergency, it goes into like a database, and then it marks that spot as like a hot spot, so then they'll actually send more cars to that location. So it might make you feel like kind of annoying. I did it for 3 years, and I literally cleaned up my block. So I would say just like keep on top of it and just keep pestering, call in, use the app, and then like once you build enough metrics, like they just can't ignore, right? Because they go every morning, they do a lineup, they pull data, they go, okay, well, these are the spots that we're going to really be focusing on today, and like your spot, if you keep calling it in, like I had my family doing this, so like I would call, and then I'd have somebody else at my house call, and somebody else at my house would call, so we just like kept basically spiking it until eyes would fall on it.
I'm a pretty good witness to that too, since I got a lot of those. And I apologize it took so long, but I'm glad it's cleaning up.
All right, speak up.
In the last probably 3 weeks, there's been an uptick of drug use in Poplar Grove Park. This morning, I picked up my 3rd crack pipe, and there's needle parts in different parts of the park.
And that's not homelessness. That's people parking in the parking lot. There are no homeless people in that park.
Correct. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. The Green Space Squad or the Green Squad should be hitting those parks more often than they've been hit. If you're seeing that though, send me a text and I'll get it to our sergeant that's over the Green Space Squad, and we'll get that put on maybe more of a hot spot for them than normal. Now the Green Space Squad is a bike squad that's not call responsive, so they are all proactive. They'll be up and down the river. They'll be in the different parks on the west side. So if you're seeing that, please send it to me and we can have them hit those parks a lot more than they are.
Great. Any other major concerns to bring up? Detective Waller.
Dealing with that.
Any other general report or stats or things to share with us today?
Hey, just real quick, your numbers are looking really good for last year. We had a decrease of a year to date. We had 94 less calls for service, and 92. We were down 92 calls. So we did see a little bit of an increase in violent crime, but just by 2, and our property offenses actually dropped by 9%. So that's good for all of last year. For a three-year average, we're down 6% for property offenses, and then unfortunately violent crimes were up 10%. So we did see that over a 3-year average. So the numbers are trending good. You're going to see. What's that?
We had a question about car theft.
Yeah. For motor vehicle theft, for this year we saw in Poplar Grove we had a 13. We normally average 18 for a 3-year average, so we were down 5 for a total of that. So we did see a decrease in motor vehicle theft, which is great. We did see an increase though of car prowls, so people breaking into vehicles, and that was by 8%. So again, it's just like a broken record. Make sure. My daughter actually got her car broken into, and they tried to steal it. They destroyed her ignition switch. So it's everywhere. Just be careful of what you have in your car, so that people can't look in there and see something that they'll want to get to and go through your window to get it.
Okay, great. Anything else to add, Detective?
No.
I guess one question real quick. How does those numbers compare to the rest of the city?
Let's look at the city real quick. Citywide for 3-year average, we were down 0.1% in violent crimes. There were 1,668 for a 3-year average. We were down 12.1% for property offenses. So we're ground total. We were down 10.7% for a 3-year average across the city.
Okay, great. Okay.
So, yeah.
I guess one more.
Hey, Detective Oliver, this is Karen Potts.
Yep.
I just want you to know we got the Love Your Block grant for the mural, so you need to push to get approval from, I guess it's Commander Clough to put that on the building.
I am pushing that hard because that's one thing I really want to see. So I know our last chief wasn't very up to it, but this chief is very willing to put community artwork around. So yeah, I'm pushing for it.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to him. His info is always in the update that we send out. If you're not on our newsletter, go to poplargroveslc.org. You can sign up there, and we send out both a last-minute reminder about these meetings and then a recap afterwards as well. So thanks, Detective.
You bet. Thank you.
Next up, we have legislators. They're in session now. They're super busy doing stuff. As far as their involvement, last 3 weeks ago, there was a legislative preview that was held combined with hosted by the West Side Coalition. It was at the Fair Park, and we had all the legislators that sort of cover the West Side there, and they had a little meet and greet. So they are always open to hear what we have to say. So keep that in mind. Now, Alicia, did you want to go after the BioTower thing? Was that?
Yes, I'd like to yield my time to them.
Okay.
My thoughts, yes.
So we're gonna kind of do this a little bit we'll alter this around a little bit. Normally we have some mayor stuff and then some community stuff, but we're gonna have our featured presenters go first. If you guys want to start working your way up here.
Thank you so much.
And then, actually was also gonna check out to see if I refresh this. I think it just needed a little bit of time to process.
Okay. Deny my request to present
And
on that.
there we go.
Okay. This is great to see so many people engaged in the community like this. This is awesome. We go to a lot of community councils and it's great to see a lot of people here engaged and ready to talk and listen. We're here to listen. So I'm Jason Brown. I'm a Deputy Director of Salt Lake City Public Utilities. We've got a project in your neighborhood that we want to have some discussion about. We presented earlier last year. We presented once to the community council. We had another community engagement event about 2 weeks ago with a smaller group, and then also one on the street where there was a lot of people involved there. And we had a lot of discussion about the biofilter. It's no longer a tower. It's a filter, and we're going to make sure we get that information out, and we're here to answer questions too. But I'm going to go through this presentation that we have here. Salt Lake City had actually, Public Utilities operates 4 enterprise funds, which essentially means we don't get any taxes to provide the services. The water bill, the sewer bill, the street light, and the stormwater bills that you pay, that's what funds the utilities. And that's where we use that money to do the work and keep the utilities operating. We're here to talk specifically about sewer, so I want to just give you some brief background on the sewer, because there's a lot of people don't realize this, but the sewer utility has been around since 1889 when the first line was installed. We are regulated by the federal and state Clean Water Acts, which dictates what we have to do and what we can do to the sewer system and things like that. We are regulated also through the Division of Water Quality. So how we discharge, how we collect, how we operate, all that stuff is regulated, and we have to make sure that we're managing and doing that all correctly. I'm not going to read every word in the slide, so if I skip something and you have a question about, just raise your hand and ask the question. Just a brief outline of what engagement we've done so far. Like I said, starting back in April, and we had this month we're having 3 so far, and we will most likely have another one in February at the beginning of next week, and we'll get into that a little bit more as we get to that point. This project that we're talking about is just on the south side of the interstate on Pierpont and 10th West. That's that little triangular piece there you can see that's red, and we'll get a little closer into here and we'll start talking about it. What we're actually trying to reduce is hydrogen sulfide in the sewer system. I don't know how many, or has anybody seen the previous presentations we've done, so I kind of want to give some background and make sure that everybody's on the same page as we're moving forward. Hydrogen sulfide is in all sewer systems. It's really can be really deadly, actually, if it in the right doses. The stuff that's coming out of the sewer system right now is not concentrated enough to cause problems, but our maintenance staff have to get in there and work, and that's where the real risk comes to them for life safety issues. But more important to that is that the hydrogen sulfide, through this process up here in the yellow, bacteria actually eat the sulfur, and then they create sulfuric acid, and that's what they expel. Well, it condenses on the side of the concrete pipes and eats the calcium out of that, and then we have corrosion. And when we have corrosion, pipe starts to fail, and then potentially there's a collapse. And we want to avoid that at all costs. Maybe you've heard or smelled the rotten egg smell. It's there and all the time. Okay, and so that's what we want to avoid. Keep that in the sewer system or treat it in a way that we can discharge it easily. These are the sources right now. It vents through the lids in the street, the sewer lids. It comes through those holes. all your plumbing inside usually has drain vents, and that's what is connected to the sewer system. And that drain can go out through the tops of the roof. So it's there in your neighborhood as it is right now. This is a picture of our trunk line in 10th West. We call it the 12th West trunk line because that's where it eventually gets to 12th West up at the reclamation facility next to Rose Park Golf Course. This is what it looks like. This was taken maybe about 3 weeks ago inside the sewer system. You can see these bands around the outside of the pipe here. We don't think that's rebar, but it could be joints or it could be other things in there. So we're starting to see some of the aggregate get exposed. And let me show you, this is not, this next picture is just an example. It's not what's actually happened out here. This is how we can actually measure how much corrosion has happened within the concrete pipe. You might not be able to see it, but there's a big circle on the outside that's a light blue. That would represent the outside of the pipe. On the inside, there's just a green line circle. That would be the inside of the pipe. And then that purple line that goes around, what we've done in the past is run a laser down the sewer system, and it catches and captures the distance that it has to go to see how much corrosion has happened. So then they superimpose these reference lines, and you can estimate how much concrete has been removed from the sewer manhole or sewer pipe. This was on at North Temple on a different line. You can see over here where it looks like it's out to the outside of the pipe. Well, I went back and looked at that video, and sure enough, I can see dirt through that pipe. So we ended up having to replace this. All of Orange Street has been lined, so it's not going to be an issue. This is what we want to avoid: an unforeseen collapse of a sewer line. Since I've been with the city about 20 years, I've seen it happen twice. Once near the reclamation facility on the Orange Street line as it came into the facility, and then another time on Orange Street at North Temple. So it has happened, and that's when I really got involved with the sewer system and started doing a lot of this asset management to make sure that we don't have a pipe that's going to do this again. So one of the biggest culprits that we're finding is the hydrogen sulfide. We want to get that out of there as much as possible. So I've mentioned this a few times, but what do we want to do? We want to reduce the odors that you're smelling. We've had calls of people saying, I can't open my windows at night because it stinks like rotten eggs. And that's not a good thing. We don't want that. We also know that there's a high concentration of hydrogen sulfide at the location of 10th West and 4th South. We have two trunk lines that come together, and at that point, it kind of gets stirred up and it releases that hydrogen sulfide into the air that then gets eaten by the bacteria and creates the sulfuric acid. So we want to avoid that as much as possible.
You replaced all that some years ago in sections in 4th South, all the water lines and everything.
On 4th South from 10th West out to Redwood Road.
Yeah, you had it all dug up.
We did.
Yeah.
That is that was a new forced main, a pumped system coming from the Orange Street line over to the 12th West line.
Okay.
So as capacities, the 12th West line, I thought I had a slide here, but I didn't see it. The 12th West line kind of goes right down the middle of the valley. Then we have an Orange Street line that captures the west side.
It's on there if you go back up.
Did I skip through it too quick? I thought it was at the very beginning.
That one?
No, right there. I missed this one. I don't know why. I must not have looked at it. Sorry. I should have spent more time on this. You can see the red line is the 12th West trunk line. And then the Beck Street line is the line that picks up most of the east side, middle, and then kind of the west side. Orange Street's about a 48-inch sewer line, so a 4-foot diameter. The 12th West line is a 60-inch to 66-inch line, so it's a foot bigger, which is a lot more volume. And then the Beck Street's about that same size. So when we've seen a lot of growth, and we've been planning on this since at least 2010 of what we needed to do and how to handle these flows. It was determined to be able to pull the water off of the Orange Street trunk line, put it in the 12th West line because it had a lot more capacity, and then we wouldn't have to add a 4th trunk line anywhere. And that was a smaller project. Cost-wise, a lot more effective than trying to run a new trunk line all the way down to the reclamation facility. And so what we did was adding 2 force mains in 5th and 4th South.
Did you replace all the lines?
Oh, no, that's a separate line entirely. It's pressurized. Normally sewer is a gravity flow, so it just flows all the time. In this case, since we didn't have the elevation that we needed, we pump it uphill into this 12th West line. Good question, though. I want to spend a little time on this diagram on the right because it will reference it back a little bit later. Corrosion on the infrastructure, the pipe that we're dealing with was 1918 is when that line was installed, that 12th West line. It's been there forever. It's been working great. It's in mostly great shape, but we've seen a lot of degradation over the last 5 years. Concentrations of hydrogen sulfide change, the chemistry within the sewer system changes, and then that causes some of this acceleration to happen. So we want to avoid that. The biofilter, and I'll get to this just in a little bit. So what is a biofilter? It's not that, okay? I want to make sure that everybody's clear. It's not a tower like that. Oh, went too quick. This is what I pulled this off of the submittal that our contractor got from the manufacturer, BioAir. This is what it looks like. It's going to be about 15 feet tall. I liken it to a 20-foot Connex building or to shipping containers. You've seen those. That's about the size, about 8 to 10 feet wide, 15 feet tall, about 20 feet long. There's some auxiliary structures next to there. There's a fan on here. Then there's some electrical components and a water system in there that helps with this whole process. So how it actually works is that fan pulls all that air, all the air out of the trunk line. So all the nasty stuff that's in there, all the methane, all the hydrogen sulfide, it pulls it through this bottom down here, and then it pushes it into this media where bacteria live that actually, again, take that sulfur, combine it with oxygen, and then they only discharge carbon dioxide, water vapor, and that's all that comes out of the top of the stack here. So that happens as a biological process. So it's really great because it's sustainable. We don't have to do a whole lot to it. We have to give it some food in the winter because there's not as much hydrogen sulfide being generated, but we have to make sure that still that population is there. You see the little water droplets at the top. What that is it's a spray system that sprays down on the media that washes the sulfuric acid out, and we collect it in the bottom and put that back in the sewer system. That happens multiple times an hour to make sure that hydrogen sulfide, or sorry, the sulfuric acid is dilute enough to where it's not going to cause problems in our system. But at the very, very top here is the carbon polishing. So it's activated carbon that sits there. So just in case there's a big spike of hydrogen sulfide that comes through and the bacteria can't eat it all, it hits that carbon filter and nothing can get through there. The carbon filter will have to be replaced and maintained on an 18 to 24 month basis. We will monitor it, know when it's starting to fail, and be able to go back and replace it before it starts to fail. So BioAir gave us an example of other places that they've installed a similar system. This is in California. You can see it's right next to some houses. We don't want to do that. We're going to put it in that vacant lot that is technically undevelopable because of the setbacks and zoning issues there. There's 443 similar installations nationwide. And that's just BioAir. There's multiple manufacturers of this type of technology. We have at the 5th South pump station, we have a similar system, but it uses seashells. So that's part of the thing that I want to make sure that you're aware of. We have seashells there as the media where the bacteria grow. We're not doing that on this project. We have it at 5th South, 7th South pump station, and at our reclamation facility also to do the same thing. And that one doesn't have a stack or anything on it. It's kind of our workers right by it all the time. So existing our past conditions, the existing site. We've seen a lot of things and activities on there that may not be desirable. Since we've purchased that, we've cleaned it up, made it kind of it's a dirt lot right now. And what we want to do is install the filter on this property and put some landscaping in there, make it more of an amenity to the community. And that's what we're really looking for, some feedback from the committee. And in fact, what I want to do is set up a subcommittee to the community council to help inform this design of what that is going to look like. So at the end, we'll ask for some volunteers. Jason's volunteered already to be on the committee. And if there's others, we're looking up to 4 more people to help us to inform that discussion so that we can make sure that it becomes something that the community can be proud of, and it doesn't affect property value. It actually helps and makes it look nice. Right now, the plan is, you can see the filter back here in the back. Their original drawings we had did have a stack on top of it, like a chimney, and that was about 15 feet tall. So it made the whole thing about 30 feet tall. That was some of the first feedback we got. It was like, we don't want to have to look at this smokestack, this big white smokestack that's there. And we went back, talked with our engineers, talked with Biofilter, and they said that the tower is not necessary it won't affect the operation of the filter, but it's like a chimney. If you want, when you discharge air out of a smokestack, you want it as high as you can, so whatever's coming out gets dispersed into the air and doesn't come at the ground level. That makes sense? There are some efficiencies that we lose when we remove the stack. It doesn't concentrate that air and pull it out quicker, but that's not it. It'd be more efficient if we could do that, but we're talking 0.1% on that efficiency. So we've removed it, and it's not there right now. The idea is that we want to put something on ground cover that's going to be water wise, that doesn't require a lot of maintenance, that doesn't become an attractive nuisance, that doesn't attract the activities that the community doesn't want there. So we have to try to balance that with a green space or some other space that may start attracting that. So that's where we need that feedback to what the community would like to see. I can go through these. The tree selection, the idea was to be able to screen it and make sure that it wasn't as visible from the sidewalk or from across the street. But before I get to there, let's talk about the schedule. Excuse me. You'll notice there's no times on here, just months, just amount of time that we need. Because as soon as we get the feedback from the community and we've got a design that we're ready to execute, we'll let the contractor know and he can then start on the process. There's a lead time of getting that equipment here. So they're going to be doing some preliminary work at first, getting the site ready, preparing for when they actually deliver the filter to the site. And then that'll be one of the last things that gets installed. Expect to be done in 6 months once we get the go. 6 to 7 months. So we're looking for additional ideas of what we can do to this site. This is a landscaping plan from aerial view. The red denotes the fence that we've designed right now, and that's long. It's far enough away from the sidewalk, allows us to drive onto that property, not be hanging out into the road, to allow traffic to go back and forth. And I'll go through the trees here just so that you can maybe see visually what right now is planned. So these red or light pink colored circles are this red oak, and that's what a typical picture of it. These are obviously a little more mature, and so we will try to get trees that are as mature as we can, that can be transplanted and that don't have a huge root ball or something that would cause problems for it to be established later. The second set of trees along the frontage here between the sidewalk and curb are lotus, the yellow locust. Yeah, okay, thanks. These are little taller trees. They don't have we're going to remove the branches at the bottom so that people on the sidewalk aren't getting hitting the head as they walk by. And then finally, right in front is what's the name of this? Is Ivory Silk Lilac. You can see how dense it is. You can't see through it. That was the idea, is to help screen visually, the filter behind it, so you wouldn't be able to see it unless you're really looking for it. Here's just we put together some renderings just to maybe give an idea. Early on is the trees, these were like, if we went to Home Depot or Lowe's and got trees off the parking lot, they're really small. These are early trees that have to be established. We're trying to get some more mature trees when we start from the beginning, so you're not having to get more screening. We can have a CMU or concrete masonry unit wall that's in place here. Understand that could be a real big nuisance gathering for graffiti and things like that. So we were talking to Council Member Cooey 2 weeks ago, and he offered to us that he would work to try to find, not putting words in his mouth now, so don't make any promises, but there's opportunities to have art put on there, established art, having, maybe it's, I've seen Franklin Elementary or something like that come out and they do a school project and they paint it. It's been really effective to keep the graffiti artists from then going and painting over the works the kids have done. So that's an option. It does screen about 6 feet of that, so it makes it a little bit easier to ignore, I guess. Ultimately, as the trees get more mature, they'll get taller. We don't see the ones in the back. I don't know why those didn't show up right in front, but and then also with the CMU wall, what it would look like. So the advisory group or the subcommittee, what we're looking at is having a meeting as early as next Monday. It's going to take about an hour or so just to go through some of the feedback we've already heard, get some ideas, collect some more ideas as to what we can do. Then we turn that over to our engineering staff. They would then take that, do what they can. There are going to be restrictions on some of the stuff that we can do because of setbacks and fencing and property lines and zoning and all that kind of stuff. We'll have to navigate all that stuff to make sure that we can do what is actually wanted in the community. So feedback is really important for us at this point. We plan on having a second meeting after we've gone through that initial one, gathered information. Here's, hey, this is what we're thinking of, what we heard you say, and then ultimately come back to this community council and present what was established as the most desirable outcome of that committee. And here's some feedback there. So right now I mentioned we have Jason has volunteered. So we're looking for up to 4 more volunteers to help. Like I said, it's probably gonna be an hour, maybe a little bit of other time throughout the week for help, looking up your own, doing your own research kind of stuff. So maybe not right now, but we'll collect that information. Daniel can grab that or Jason can gather it for us, and there's volunteers. We'd love to have you help and we'd be in contact with you. Mike Guyman, he's going to be the project manager, the person you're going to see. He's not here today. He's doing junior jazz coaching right now. So I said, okay, I'll take it over for you. I don't know if it's playoff time or not, but let's let him do that. Mason Bouster back there. Mason's been answering my questions. It's like he's corrected me as I say things wrong. Brandon White is with engineer Owen Collins back there. And then our facilitator with Kimberly Horn will be Jordan King, who's also in the back there. So that team will help facilitate this process, answer the questions of what can't be done. We can bring in other people. We have in-house a water conservation officer that can come and help us answer questions as far as ground cover, trees, or any of that kind of stuff to make sure that we're getting it right. That makes a lot of sense for the community and for us. So I think that is my last slide. There's the website. You can scan that picture to get more information. A lot of it's going to be duplicate, but if you have more questions, please reach out to us, email Mike. We did not get the email address yet, or no?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, we're setting up a specific email address that people can send it and we can monitor and get answers right back to you. And it should be something pretty simple, like 500 South Bio Tower at slc.gov. We don't know what it is. What I say, call it a tower. Okay, so it won't be tower, it'll be built. Yeah.
I'm gonna suggest that we find at least 3 of the folks who live on Pierpont.
No.
Right, to.
Yep, absolutely. We would love to. That'd be awesome. I don't see Alex here. Somebody's been giving us a lot of feedback. We'd love to have him on there. And
He's online.
oh, is he online? Okay.
Yeah, we're here. If you can hear us.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Alex. Yeah, we got a spot for you if you'd like to be there.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. There's one, so now we got 3. Yes, Jordan,
I'm just gonna mention, if you are interested, Chloe you can just text Chloe back here and let her know before you leave tonight, if they want to join.
Yeah. Okay, there's another question.
Yeah, I'm happy to join, so I'll connect with you on that, but are you able to do or planning to do any kind of air quality monitoring, emissions monitoring, methane?
Yeah, so that's one of the things that when we write specifications or a contract, we tell them, hey, you need to provide the equipment that meets these requirements. We have to make sure as a utility that the contractor's actually delivering that. So we will monitor that to make sure that it's happening. We're looking at doing more of a long-term monitoring on that. We don't have an answer yet to how that would work. It's interesting. They don't make hydrogen sulfide sensors that last a long time. And I haven't figured out why that is, but it's because it's corrosive and it eats it up. But that's in a really high intense environment where we shouldn't be hardly seeing any of it here. So we're looking into it. That was a question we got from feedback previously. Any other questions? Comments? Yes, sir.
Is that going to be quiet? Is there any
Yes.
sound involved in that?
So the fan will be the noisiest thing you hear. It's about 50 decibels, which is the refrigerator running in your kitchen.
I just wondered, now I'd say make an art installation out of the whole place.
Yeah. Well, and I think that has a lot of merit. I think it would be really neat to see if we can get it done right? And that's the feedback we want and guidance that we're hoping to get from the community.
Okay, if there are not any other questions, do you have?
Are people online raising hands or anything?
No, you can unmute. I mean, were there any questions online? You can feel free to unmute and ask. We can hear you.
Yeah, I have one more question. This is Alex. Regarding the trees. Now, do those lose their leaves in the winter, or are they all year round leaves on those?
I think these trees right now, they're proposed will lose their leaves, but that is another thing we want to talk about and make sure that we get right. Because we talked about, I think earlier, Alex, getting some sort of evergreen or something like that would not do that.
And our water conservation manager, Stephanie Dewar, she's online and she has all of the answers. She knows all of the things when it comes to landscaping and what we're working in for situations and stone or rock versus mulch and things like that. And so she's going to be working with us.
Yeah, she will be at. I didn't have her on that list. But she will be available. Are you online there, Stephanie?
I am. Hi, Jason. Yes, I have been invited to those meetings, and so I'll be there to offer some guidance and answer questions for the community focus group.
Great. So if you have more questions or concerns, you can reach out directly. Like, I have a bunch of ideas, but I'm just going to talk to the people that are going to be on the committee, and they'll share them at that point. And so we're really glad you guys came back out. I know there's a bit of a hubbub that made it on the news and stuff. We just want to make sure that we're having as much transparency as possible. I hope if there's anyone that showed up today because of that, and it's your first time, that you keep coming back, because we love having this engagement. We are glad that you came last year in April, did present on this topic. And so, the city only has so many avenues in order to connect with us as a community. And then I also know, the community council, we have like 40 people here versus the thousands that live in the neighborhood. So we're also only a sliver of that, but we do our best to keep our neighbors involved and connected. And thanks for coming out.
I think we might have one question here.
Okay.
So I'm here as a resident. My house is a block away. I do work for public utilities, but I'm speaking on my own and asking questions on my own. But as one of those workers at the wastewater treatment plant, I'm exposed to this sub 1 parts per million, 40 hours a week. And now it's coming into my neighborhood, and I'm concerned about the chronic health effects from that. Was it a possibility that the exhaust of this would just be routed back into the sewer system?
The exhaust of the filter. So what's coming out of the filter, I guess it would be clean air.
No. So I have 14 years of experience. We know that it's a chemical soup is what's in the sewage.
We don't know what's dumped upstream.
Right.
By the time we know it's permitted, we know that this will treat for hydrogen sulfide. We don't know that it will treat for methane. We don't know that it will treat for volatile compounds. So
Actually,
you get a slug load through that that's volatile and it comes out, and if we're sleeping in the middle of the night in our neighborhood and we get a dose of something, like that's my concern.
Yeah, no, that's a very valid concern to have, and I think you're aware of this. The filter itself is, since it's a two-stage filter, you've got the carbon filter on there that is going to be able to address a lot of that extra stuff that comes out of the VOCs and the
Right. It'll load
and the
up to a
methane.
certain point. I've
Right.
seen our odor control fail for 14 years. We maybe finally have a system that works for a time, but this stuff, like, I don't know.
We're in the middle of it.
I'll be honest.
Or if you want to hop on Zoom. It's all-
Yeah, some of the stuff that's out the direct, that's why we're getting a new reclamation facility with all brand new odor control and everything
Yeah,
else.
so if you can make a closed loop system where it goes right back into the sewer, then you're controlling the hazards. And I don't believe it's even been characterized in the first place. Like, have you done studies on the gas in the sewer pipe over like a period of like a year, seasonal characterization of what's in the gas run?
Yeah, just like what we've done at the rec plant with odor monitoring, we put out the monitors around the plant and the facility to log all the odors that are coming out of there.
We monitor for H2S, but we're not monitoring for ethyl ethyl death and stuff like that, right?
Okay.
So like, you need to know the concentrations, we need a baseline of what's out there. Also, it's tucked up between I-80 and I-15. And the stagnant ones, I'm actually concerned that you remove the tower. Because in my opinion, the tower should be above the sound barriers there for better airflow, for better dispersal.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and that's some of the feedback we heard. It was that the tower didn't need, we don't want to see the tower, so we went
We
back and
don't
asked.
want the tower.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted this, right?
Well,
that was the concern.
Tower,
If it's ugly, that's one thing, but it's the pollution that's the problem. You want to pollute my neighborhood, you want to poison me in the middle of the night, and you want to send me a bill for it?
No, so let's be clear, and you should be aware of this too. This is happening right. Hydrogen sulfide is out in the systems right now.
My house has P-traps in it to keep that swamp gas.
Yep.
Getting up in here.
Yep.
Don't point to this and like try and give me confidence that there's no. The risk is there. I don't think you're controlling for it.
Okay.
You can show me the data. I'll email the engineer and I'll see what reports you've done. But like, you just close the loop. That's all I'm saying. Close the loop, put it back into the sewer. Like 99% of the problems are gone.
Yeah, accomplishing that is a really difficult task because you start blowing air into it, all the vents and all everything else, that's where all the gas is going to be coming out of it. So we create a vacuum, pull it out of, and have the clean air going in these vents, pull all the bad air through the filter, and discharge the clean air out the top of the filter itself. So to push that back into the sewer system,
downstream into the sewer, just put it right back where it came.
I think we're going to end up pushing it to places where we can't control.
So I think this is also maybe not we'll solve it here in the community council meeting. I mean, great to have and get in with whatever committees are.
I'm not gonna pick trees on something that's gonna kill me and my kids.
Yeah, I mean, also, so just point out the fact that we can only do so much in this particular meeting today. No decisions are being made here. So, I mean, that's great to have. I'm not saying we don't want to share those concerns. Just want to make sure that you're connecting to the sources that can address that at some point.
Yeah, and I just want to close the loop a little bit, because quite frankly, I do have confidence in the carbon filter. So that's why I asked the question on the street there, and Jason was there and others were there. But, how often are we going to change that carbon out? That's the key.
Yep.
And it costs money. That's O&M costs. And so, and that's like 1.5 year turnover there, but what sure gives us a whole lot more confidence to swap that every year. So
yeah.
All it takes is just one.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
No, it burns up. It doesn't. It's not a linear degradation.
Do we have a question over there?
Yeah. What is the discharge volume? How many?
CFM. CFM, let's see, 3,000 CFM cubic feet per minute.
for an area like that, it's more than adequate, isn't it?
Did you do a study?
I did it, but I'm just curious, like, if somebody is an engineer, like.
I did a quick calculation once with just the Pierpont block. I mean, I don't think we're gonna get to the answer today. But if you look at that block and give yourself 20 feet of airspace, we know there's a lot more than that above it. You're looking at 30 million cubic feet of air. So if you're putting 3,000 cubic feet of air with 0.1 part per million H2S, it's already reduced 1,000-fold dilution in that block, in that small space. You have wind coming through. Basically what I'm trying to say is your concentration is immediately reduced drastically.
If you come live in a neighborhood, there's fog that hangs out by the river. That air is not going anywhere at those times.
The freeway causes problems too.
But just to give the dilution an idea.
I think that's I'm curious.
That Pierpont? So the question was the address. It's Pierpont, which is basically just right by the freeway and 9th West.
Like
10th West.
And 10th
Yeah.
West.
250 South 9th.
Yeah. Oh, 250 South. Okay.
There would be ways to monitor for other things. So this is solving the acid problem that's corroding the pipes. You're concerned about it belching something else out into the neighborhood that's not being monitored for, right?
Right.
So,
But it's already being released
I was gonna
through
say,
household.
it's-
vents.
well, no, it doesn't.
It does. It doesn't come into your house, but it goes out of the vents from your house.
Yeah.
And so it's right now, it's being released into the neighborhood,
Everywhere.
scattered everywhere. It should always be released. It's not being collected at all. This would help.
Yeah, wet plumbing, it shouldn't be.
No, it still will go through your vents. You have pipes that go all the way to the top of your house that connect to the sewer.
Yeah, and my sink and my toilets connect to create a water.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah,
water.
and then behind that in the wall, there's a pipe that goes all the way to the
Behind your P traps, goes to the sewer and exits behind it. And it is venting from the sewer.
Yeah, it's just well distributed through the entire neighborhood,
Right,
city, and but his concern is there's a massive volume of air being pulled through this one spot, which is the purpose of it. So what else could it pull through there that comes from upstream, right? And I think that's the issue, because I think this solves the acid problem, but it doesn't necessarily solve something else, right? Is that
Midnight Dome,
yeah.
So I assume that there'll be a lot more questions, and we have their information. We'll put that out in the recap. I want to just keep things moving a little bit. I appreciate you coming back out. And unless there's something super pressing, we'd like to thank you for your time, and they'll hang out as well. Chloe, she's a contact person with the city for this project, and
Yeah.
so
And, we all said that we wanted to be on.
we had Nan. Did you already get?
Yeah. Oh,
So yeah,
great.
just wave her down before you leave. Make sure you get before one of them leaves.
It's gonna be more than 50 trees out there.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Does anybody know when the bridge over the Jordan River on 4th South in front of Franklin Elementary is coming out? Replacing it. The city's been out there, they've said they're gonna tear it out and redo it.
I don't know, but maybe Alicia can I can follow up with the city about that. They had a question about the bridge on
4th South in front of Franklin.
400 South in front of Franklin Elementary. That
Over
if
the
there,
Jordan
if you
River.
can ask around if there's any updates to that, we can throw that in the list.
Yeah, they've been out measuring and we've talked to them and they said it's coming out, they were gonna replace it.
You want an update on the bridge?
Yeah. Yeah, if there's anything from the city. We won't have it today, but she can follow up with that.
Yeah, it would be nice to know what this is.
Before we get to the mayor's report, Alejandro, you were tuned in. Do you want to give us any thoughts?
Hello. Just sharing a little bit of the work as some of you might have followed. the mayor share the state of the city speech and her vision for this upcoming year of this year. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it. You should. This is our executive, and she shared with us what she wants to accomplish. Um, there's a recording of that online, and we can make that available for all of you if you wish to listen to it. The council has selected me to be in leadership this year. So I've been in leadership every year since I've been on the council, which is very uncommon. But I'm the council chair this year. So meaning I have the personal control of the agenda, what is fast tracked and what is slowed down. And that is there's a specific authority to do that. And I'm excited to reset some of the relationship we have with the executive to ensure that we, as the council, have the check and balances that I feel that we deserve a little better. So we are working through our priorities for the year, council priorities, also responding to the legislative session, that there is a lot of very bad bills being discussed right now that include taxes, removing our authority to name streets, reducing our authority to fix streets and change their street typology, diverting Salt Lake City taxpayers' dollars into state directive. So there is all sorts of very, very bad bills that we are trying to figure out how to negotiate or get other partners to help us fight them. So there is a lot of that going on. The council directed and asked our legislative team to create a website to share with you what our bills are, what are we tracking, and where our position is. So if you want to follow what are the bills that are being discussed right now that take all of our time during the legislative session, you can visit slc.gov/legislative affairs. And that is slc.gov/legislative affairs. And in that page, you will find a tracker, a bill tracker that is updated almost daily. Because some bills we might oppose one day, we might support the next day, or we might be neutral one day and we might oppose the next day because those bills get changed and edited and changed. So I would love your eyes on it because it is affecting all of you, all of us. So it's a big deal during this, 40, less than 40 days left of the session to be careful with what was happening over there. So that is really my update right now. I'm sure we're not going to hear from our senator or representative, not because they're not working. They probably are in session until midnight, if I have to guess. I mean, they're working very hard. So that is my update for today. I don't know if anybody has any questions, if there is time for any of that.
Yeah, I think we have just a couple questions. Maybe start with
I sent you an email after I got your newsletter. I never received a response to it. I had a big concern about the fireworks that happened for your last hurrah. I know we have a lot of problems with inversion in this area. I don't like to see the amount of pollution. I think there's other alternatives that we could do. The mayor's done drone type things that are very comparable. I don't like the noise. I think it's difficult for animals and veterans to have that kind of noise. So I don't know if you got that email or not.
I'm sure I did. I am sorry I didn't see it. I also get about 200 emails a day, and I only have one staff member, and I'm trying to sort through that. We're trying to figure out what are the most emergent issues. Obviously, the biotower was one. We jumped on that. We got a lot of good information from the administration and good concessions and information that I didn't know. But let me tell you a little bit about fireworks. The Salt Lake City cannot regulate fireworks. The state preempts us. So the state has forced our hand to not being able to regulate fireworks. And if you remember, for the Pioneer Day, Salt Lake City, and also for the 4th of July, Salt Lake City used to hold a big firework event in the West Side and in Liberty in Sugar House Park. In my first year of the council, I opposed Salt Lake City putting money into fireworks. Unfortunately, the mayor, was opposed of my request, and we force because that's in our authority any funding from the council or the city to go into fireworks, and that's how we went into lasers and drones. And the administration found ways to celebrate without fireworks. That we can do. If it's our money, we don't have to spend it on that. But unfortunately, we have zero authority to regulate the state, much like we don't have authority to regulate the federal government. But what we can do, the fire department has some tools if those throwing fireworks fall within areas where they're not allowed, but that is very narrow limitation.
Jason, you have a question?
Yeah, when it comes to agenda items for the city to take care of this year, preferably before summer, R1 5000 changes to the zoning rules for that, for amount of square footage you can put buildings. If someone was to make an ADU on their lot and they have a small lot, you can't do that. So the housing argument that the city typically has is kind of moot. So it's voided out by the rules. The other thing is the elevations that the city allows these days is really short. So that's why everyone's got these flat roofs, because that's the maximum height for interior. They can't have any pitched roofs because of those rules. They need to be put back up where they used to be, so that people can build normal houses with a roof that has an angle on it if they want. That sort of thing needs to change. And I would like to see that R1 5000 changes put on the agenda.
I don't remember. I need to check where if this. Just to clarify, I don't control the administration's transmittal. And transmittal is when the administration is finished with an ordinance draft and sends that to us. When it's sent to us and it's transmitted, officially transmitted to us, we get to go through our process of asking questions to the administration. Our staff creates a staff report, analyzes our positions in the past, and gives us a report of if the draft ordinance meets those. That is the moment that we get to decide if we're going to schedule, if we are ready to schedule it or not. So I need to check where we are, where the administration is on that, and I can get back to you on that. And you, Jason, know the council has been very progressive, if you wish, on zoning reform generally. I mean, we have combined a lot of zoning districts, and we removed dozens of pages of the code to allow for gentle density in neighborhoods and more density in downtown areas. Let me get back to you on that. I'm gonna send a note to my liaison.
You guys have made it easy for large condos or big 5-story buildings. If I have a property,
Not completely true. We have created, and made it easier for some ADUs to be built. We made those changes quite over 5 years. As you probably know, there is politics. We are a political body, and all of the 7 of us respond to different part of towns that have different interests. There are parts of town that don't want any changes to their neighborhood, and they push their council members to stand up and defend them. And you have other parts of town that are trying to find consensus and trying to meet somewhere in the middle, and that's where I was. Even though the council members from the east side and the avenues oppose those changes. So we are not monolithic. We all represent different parts of town with different interests, and we are trying to balance that out. So but in any case, I know where you're trying to get to. I agree with your direction. That's been some of the changes we made, and we also have a tracker of all the zoning changes we made. And I would love if Daniel can send that, because it's a great piece that highlights all the hundreds of changes we made in the zoning book since I've been on the council. Literally, we are seen in the nation for the changes we made. It doesn't mean that we have solved all the problems, though.
Hey, thanks.
Okay. I just had one quick question. What would be the best way to follow up with you if we have a concern? If I mean, just in case, I know you get a million emails. Should we put in there like, hey, I know him. I don't know. What would you suggest?
That's actually a good question. You know what I say is the best way to ensure that, and I'm not talking only about me, I'm talking about all of us, is to try to re-up the email. If you haven't heard in a few days, re-up it again. And if you have my cell phone, which I can share it with you, highlight that you send me an email. And again, I am sincerely not trying to ignore you. I'm shooting straight, every time. And if I cannot handle it right now, I will tell you, can we talk about this next week? Because right now, X, Y, and Z. So I would love for you to really give me a little bit of the benefit of the doubt that I'm really trying to get to you. And I will love to get to you. So, but re-up the email first. I think that would be the best way. But if you always add the liaisons email into the email, it goes to all of the liaisons, and that helps things get scheduled better.
Okay, great.
Can I suggest something for that? If someone from if everyone in a neighborhood, let's say 10 of us wanted to send you an email, and we put in the subject line Poplar Grove, and then you wanted to check your news for Poplar Grove, or whoever's looking at through those emails, they can easily go, let's check out this neighborhood, and they search for Poplar Grove, and they can see all the Poplar Grove emails. And then you can do the same thing for Fair Park and West Point and everyone else. That way you can actively, instead of it just being a gross mess of emails coming from who knows where, you can at least go to your constituents by alphabetical order, right? Is that something you can do?
I love that, Jason. I will bring that suggestion. If my liaison has the directive of, if it's from a constituent of mine, takes priority, but there is constituents across the city, and as a council, I represent also, as a body, I represent everybody, right? Certainly, my first order of business is to try to get to know what is going on, that you are uniquely qualified to tell me from the neighborhood. So that's his first of order of business. So I get frustrated when sometimes I miss an email from you, and I know that I am, because I really don't have enough hours in the day for all these things, but I really try my best, and I promise to you I will try a little harder. As you know, all of us are part-time council members, but our liaisons are really incredible. Also struggling with capacity, but if I'm gonna try to work on a system on my side that maybe highlights a little bit of who you are. But don't feel like you are annoying if you send an email again saying, "Hey, I haven't heard back about this." I'm not ignoring you. You most likely, unfortunately, got buried under dozens of emails, and we really wanted to see it, and it's hard to sort through it.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I just wanted my question answered so that we know, so I could say, okay, if you have any more questions, email him, and then if he doesn't answer, email him again. So thank you all.
And Daniel, one more thing: if you email me and I don't answer, and you do it again and I don't answer, if they email you, I know Daniel very well. We go way back. Sincerely, he can say, "Hey, there is a constitutional, from Poplar Grove that has an issue. He emailed you. This is the name." That would be so easy, because I can just go into my email, search that name, find it, and get it to it. And I know that it's another workaround, but thank you for the opportunity to clarifying that, though.
Great, awesome. Thank you for tuning in. He's not super well right now, but we're glad that he still made time to hop on. Lisa, and we'll turn time over now for some mayor office updates.
Thank you.
All right, come on. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year back.
Thank you. I see some new faces. Very cool. Nice. Always wanted one of these. Does it have a winner as well? Anyways, State of the City address was yesterday. You are able to view Mayor Mendenhall speak on YouTube and also on Facebook. Who had the chance to view her yesterday live? Okay, wonderful. So those of you who have not had the chance, please take some time. You can fast forward, you can do it in chunks. It's very important that you all get familiar with what's going on this year. So you're all invited to a watch party, which will be next Friday. It's a very family-oriented, family-centered event. We are having big televised, screens for you to watch athletes compete worldwide. So we want you to root for American athletes. So it will be at the Civic Center, which is right in front of the city and county building, which is next to the library. So we will expect you there. 5 to 7 will be live entertainment. There will be food. There will be swag. There will be kids activities. And then the primetime broadcast will start at 7. If you'd like more information, go to slc.gov/watch party. Bring your swag, Olympic swag. I'm sure, I know that Ricardo has swag. He's not here anymore. Okay, great. You all know about Salt Lake City PD's community gatherings and chats. They are being held on a quarterly basis. So the first one will be in February 4th. It will be the first Wednesdays of the month. So it'll be February, May, August, and November. They will be here in the neighborhood close by Sorensen Center. They start at 5:30 p.m. If you are attending, please RSVP because they will ask you 2 questions on the RSVP form. How many adults are attending? How many kids will show up? Because we want to make sure, even though I'm not hosting it, but I say we with the city, SLCPD is hosting, making sure that we have enough food and that there's daycare services or support, okay? You can reach out to the department's outreach team by calling them or going to emailing them at slcpdoutreach@slc.gov. This is taking place, the point and count activity, it's happening starting tomorrow. Perhaps some of you are volunteering, but if you're not, please be aware that this is an annual event or an annual, what would you call it, data gathering. It's mandated by the federal government from HUD, which is Housing and the Urban, Authority. So this is a requirement that takes place each year. So volunteers will be out in the community from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. And there's usually a volunteer train if you want to do that next year. And they also take donations, which is pretty late at this point. But just for you to be aware for next year if you would like to participate. So I will try to incorporate in my presentations stuff that's happening throughout the city, not necessarily in addition to what's happening in District 2 or in your neighborhood. And so by the end of March, Memory Grove will have an art installation. It's sound and light. And this artist, Olafur Ellison, is an Icelandic, Icelandic Dutch artist, and he's very well known. It's an honor for us to have him here. And so he will be featuring sounds that are linked to the Great Salt Lake, so that we make that connection of what's happening to the Great Salt Lake. So it'll happen for 10 nights, 9 to 10. You can follow them on at Wake SL, GSL, or you can sign up for the newsletter. Andrew Shaw is the one that is, helping implement this. So if you have questions, please call or email the Salt Lake City Arts Council. So you're invited. Please go. Okay. In addition to what your council member, Councilman Pui, mentioned about the legislative website, on there you can go on the city's website, legislative affairs. Let's see. You can find your representative if you don't already know. And you can go also straight to the state's legislative website. So you don't have to fumble and, figure that out. So it's shortcuts. That's my contact information. What else did I miss? Who else has questions, feedback to take back to the city for me at this moment? I want to thank you for being so gracious with our city staff and for myself. It's been a long day, and as you can see, our aging minds and also, our workloads, at times we make mistakes when we speak or when we present information. So thank you for letting us correct this ourselves in the moment. And that's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Lisa.
Yeah, thank you.
Right. Anything from Sorensen Center? Anything the other side? Anything from NeighborWorks, Neighborhood House? Anything from some Salvation Army? Those are all just some of the organizations that we have in our neighborhoods that sometimes come and do stuff. Yeah.
If you haven't seen, they have torn down the 2 homes and the old Neff Floral building. As of today, they're all gone.
Okay.
And they don't know what they're going to do with it, so they might be interested in some input. I was there while they were tearing it down. I was talking to the major. And I said, well, we need a real nice coffee house / bookstore right there.
Right there.
And he thought, yeah, we might be thinking about that. So we can nudge him in that direction.
So maybe we'll try to get them in. I know since they've done the changeover, I don't know if we've seen the new.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
Yeah, go for it.
So the previous captain, many of the challenges of the Salvation Army in the past were focused on the Salvation Army policy of not getting in debt. And as you probably know, construction and the process of developing something requires some financing, or you need to have millions of dollars in cash, right, to develop something. And it seems like they may be changing and evolving and maybe wanting partners like the city or other organizations. And that is actually a great timing to encourage them to develop something good that the neighborhood wants and meeting their own goals. So making noise on this aspect might actually be a good thing for us.
Okay, great. Well, I'll reach out, and if any of you feel like reaching out, feel free as well. Awesome. Thanks, Alejandro. Any updates for Fisher Mansion?
I'll do it really fast because I know.
Cool.
Okay, so all of you, I'm sure, have gone past the mansion lately. Yes, and seen all the wonderful construction things that are going on. Yay on our stabilization and our seismic upgrade. That's what's happening right now. If you want to talk to me after, I know we're running late, I'm not going to go through all the construction things. There's so many things being done. But as far as Fisher, Friends of Fisher Mansion, our little 501, we are working, of course, with the people who are constructing and kind of trying to stay up with it. What we as a group are kind of focusing on right now are kind of talking about preliminary restoration plans once the seismic upgrade is done. Way in the thought process right now. any RFP requests. We're kind of keeping our ideas open for people who look at that property and have ideas for it when tenants are going to be in there. So that's what we kind of are focusing on, kind of gathering more information. And also the idea, if there are things that still need to be upgraded after all the nice money the city has given us, that we are also thinking about possibly looking into a revenue bond opportunity to help us go past what's happening right now. If we need more, we want to explore that tenant option. Plus, just so you know, there's 2 different beer gardens this year, April and October. So the grounds are really an idea for us to keep that part of the whole, not just the mansion, not just the carriage house, but the whole and its relationship to the river and nature. So that's it in a nutshell. Okay?
Awesome. Thanks for the update. Oh, Jan.
Well, I'm a friend. I'm sorry. I'm on the Friends of Fishermen. I find it interesting that the 4.7 earthquake, south of Evanston kind of went off essentially around the mansion. And so there were vibrations out farther west, farther north, and farther south, but the mansion.
Yeah, I made some calls, so.
Yeah, well, whatever. And so I appreciate it, but I also wanted to suggest that the new approach of stabilizing that building as a single unit is novel and will absolutely work better than whatever had been tried in the past. So I'm excited, and cost a lot less too.
Well, great. We look forward to seeing the continued advances there. As for the Poplar Grove from the Community Council, we have been asked to share about the Jordan River Trail Safety Survey. There's a QR code here. It's also just if you go to jordanrivercommission.org.gov/trail-safety, or you just go to the main site, you can find the link there. Once again, this will be in the recap. We don't know much more besides they've asked us to share that with everybody. So do it. And as soon as I see the phones go down, we'll go to the next one, which is a reminder that we are always looking for new people involved in the board and the leadership of the Community Council. We hold elections every March. And so coming up this March, we will have the re-election of a couple of positions, the vice chair and the secretary, renewal of a couple of the board members, but there's also still room if we want to add more. We have flexibility in our bylaws to have extra people. So if you want to get involved, it's a volunteer board. And so usually it's just, if you're interested in something, join the board and make that a thing that you do. If you care about nature, like Dan, you're the nature guy, that's what you do. I like having parties, so I got involved so we can put on better events, right? You know, if you're caring about any of these issues, join and we'll become a venue and a platform for you to help make our neighborhood better. So there's still plenty of time to think that over. You're still a couple months away, but we'll hold those elections in March. So get involved, or tell your friends or other people that might be interested in that. We also just want to remind you that we haven't had a much super recently, but we try to keep this up to date with organizational input. When they're building a new house or a new something and they need a period, we get those emails, and the easiest way for us to get them out is to just throw them up on our website. So if you go to poplargroveslc.org/input, you can find that. Now, they ask us what we think. If we don't have an opinion, we don't say anything. If it's something we don't like, we might speak up as a board, but really the board doesn't have any real authority. We just are a bunch of neighbors that are complaining. So you can feel free to contact them directly and complain yourself. You're just as valuable as the board, that sort of thing. So we just try to keep you involved in that way. So keep an eye out on that on our website. And then we also want to mention the treats and snacks that we have here. We always like, when possible, not to just get, a box of Twinkies, but to try to buy local. And so tonight's treats, we actually had our board retreat there on Saturday, and we had a great dinner there. But Sazon Chapin is right off of 7th South and 9th West. It's that little restaurant right on the corner, great Guatemalan food. And so tonight we had, what was this? We had the tamal guatemalteco, which is kind of like sort of Guatemalan tamales, which is the corn base, which are similar more than the Mexican. And then we also have rellenitos de platano, which is those sort of, it was fried plantains that were sort of mushed up and turned into a thing and stuffed and then fried again. And then we had just regular fried plantains as well. So if there's any left over, grab a bite on the way out and support local. And from the board, were there any other announcements?
I don't want Dan's downplaying a little bit of that. The reason you're here is because you're concerned. The reason I'm here is because I'm concerned. Those voices stop that for now to figure out maybe a better way to do it, that biofilter, right? Because we're concerned. So it stopped it. And now they're considering more what to do with it. So it's important that everyone jumps in and says something. So even though, yes, we're just people here, that's exactly it. This is our government gets to listen to us. And if we don't say anything, they do whatever they want or think they need to anyway.
Yeah. And if I was misinterpreted, my advice was everybody complain individually, and then also we'll complain as a board. So basically just saying, we try to put these up publicly so that you can email directly if you have a concern. You can also let us know, but I'm basically saying the board doesn't have more authority with the city than you as individual citizens. So if we don't like something that's going on, everyone, and just like we were talking about at the beginning with the police, when Ricky was saying, hey, have everyone on your block complain about the thing, it's going to get a lot more traction than just you complaining over and over. So thank you. We have just a couple minutes left, and we have a few people that just wanted a minute. We're trying to limit that to just a minute or two, but we had one up here and we have one back there. You want to the floor is yours, and then we'll open up if there's any other comments.
My name is Anthony Washburn. I've lived here in Poplar Grove for the last 13 years. Second South, 826 West. I started getting involved because all the apartments were being built, and I just wanted to have a little bit of input on what was going on in my neighborhood. As a part of that, I got involved with the We Connect. So we've got a couple of posters here that we can get some information off. We just want community feedback. Second of all, I'll put this out on the table out here so everybody can look at it. Also, I have decided to run for House District 21. Representative Hollis is stepping down, so I'm going to run for that position. And I need signatures in order to guarantee that I get on the ballot. I'm going to be back here at the table. If anybody that lives in House District 21 is interested in signing for me, please, 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 I'd love your signature.
Do you remember the borders for 21?
Yeah, it's basically 3rd West to 4th South, over to 9th West, down to 5th South, Redwood Road, up to I-80, all the way out to Saltaire, up around the airport and the prison to North Salt Lake, and then back down I-15 to 6th North and over to 3rd West again.
What was it right here in the neighborhood again, right in this area?
Here, so everybody north of 500 South is going to be in House District 21. Everybody south of 500 South won't be. Yeah.
But it changed, right?
Can you mention the
Well,
scan code that they?
Yeah, we've got a bunch of events coming on with this. So if you want to scan the code to get some information on it, we'd love to have you guys come and participate, as well as just general information.
Yeah,
we're going to. Yeah. Okay. And I don't want to take too much more time.
Great, thank you.
Please come and sign for me at the end of this. It'd be good.
If you want to step up here.
My name is Autumn, and I live on Post Street, just over here. And I don't know about you all, but I'm very concerned about what's happening in Minnesota and what's currently happening in Utah. That isn't as visible what's happening in Minneapolis. I've been to protests. I've done other things as well. And I was just thinking, how can I help even locally? And so someone gave me a whistle and a Know Your Rights kind of baggie. And so I made a bunch of these if anyone wants some tonight. I have English and Spanish. This is the ACLU of Arizona, but a lot of these are, because I couldn't find the Utah one, so I apologize. But I have a bunch of these made up. If you want to go around, what I was doing was I was talking to neighbors, and I met some great neighbors that told me to come here tonight. And basically, I want to talk to my neighbors, my white neighbors who hopefully will not be profiled, because we can be out there and be safer than other people who are going to be profiled and targeted by ICE. And so if you feel so empowered to blow your whistles, film if you think anything is going awry, or even just if it, film if someone's harassing your neighbor, basically. And I also gave this to my neighbors who I think will be profiled, and told them that if they hear a lot of honking, a lot of whistles, shelter in place, do not come out. So anyway, I have some of these around. Don't know what to do, but I saw some people were doing this, so thought if you all would like to do this too. I have baggies with whistles. I have this by my door, but someone also said you can have these on your key ring as well, so that, you have it everywhere. So, yeah.
Great, thank you so much. Do we have anything to add online?
Mr. Chair, quickly.
Yeah.
So the city is monitoring the issues across the country quite closely, and working a lot on these issues and how they're affecting our community here. We have a lot of new work that we are focusing on, ensuring that the tactics used in Utah, or at least in Salt Lake City, are done correctly. Ultimately, we don't have authority over ICE, but we do have authority over our own police department and what their participation is or not, and what policies do we have for data sharing or not. So we're working through all of those things. So that the council is very active right now. We have a lot of policies that we're working and some ordinance coming in to ensure that, at least on the things that we do have control, that we are acting on.
I did have a question. I've been hearing a lot of rumors that there's going to be a huge influx to Salt Lake City very soon in ICE. And I was just wondering if you have heard anything like that, because that is a lot of what I've been hearing. So.
And we also heard rumors, and we are not able to corroborate those things. Unfortunately, the federal quote unquote administration is not very forthcoming and transparent on how they're doing things. But let me tell you this: we are ready to protect our peace. And let me tell you, our police department and our police officers, not only in Utah, not only in Salt Lake, but across the Department of Public Safety, these are the state, are saying what is happening is undermining us, is undermining the trust of the police in our communities. And as we all know, trusting the police department for many members of our community is hard, and it takes time to rebuild that. And those tactics used by the federal government are not great. So our police department, especially our police department, and I'm thankful to the Department of Public Safety at the state level, which we are not collaborating with ICE, are saying what you're doing is bad for our community, and we are unified on that. So I cannot corroborate any of that information, but soon you're going to get a mailer from me about Know Your Rights, from my communication budget, all of you. And it is your rights too. So it's not only the rights of people of color. It's your right to know those. So I'm going to be sending that very soon. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, awesome. Well, usually we try to keep these a little bit shorter, but we had a lot to talk about with the filter and all the other things going on. So we appreciate you guys coming out. If there are any other major public comments that felt like wanted to be shared.
I just want to ask that you all return those chairs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's my first time here tonight. And anyway, so I'm Andrea with Neighborhood House. It's nice to meet you all and welcome. And I look forward to sharing anything that you'd like to know about Neighborhood House in the future.
Okay, great. And as always, we're always grateful for Neighborhood House for hosting us in this great venue, great space for that. And we'll make sure we tidy up when we're done. So with that, we're going to go ahead and adjourn our meeting. Feel free to grab a treat, say hi to your neighbors, say hi to other people, and we'll call it a day. Thank you, everybody.